The crock pot does not just have to be for dinner. You can make stuff the night before, let it cook throughout the night, and wake up to a wonderful breakfast. And we're gonna do just that in this recipe. We are making a crock pot breakfast casserole. I'm changing up what might traditionally be done just because, you know, we do things a little bit different here in our household with the ingredients that we use and the food that we eat. All right, let's get this started. The first thing that I need to do is get my heat on. And in this pan, we're going to cook up some breakfast sausage. I have a pound of sausage here. We're cooking the whole thing up. I'm gonna be using half of it for this recipe and half for another recipe. While the sausage cooks, let's get our potatoes shredded. Now, you can use a bag of frozen hash browns if you want to. I always have potatoes on hand. I pretty much never have the frozen potatoes ready to go, so this is an easy thing for me to do. Just pull out the potatoes and shred them with this cheese grater, which makes things so easy. Now, normally I wouldn't bother cutting our potatoes open. I would just use the cheese grater and just grate them up. But lately, when I've got, this is why. Lately, when I get potatoes, they don't look good. So I'm cutting them open to make sure they're okay before I go in and shred them. Okay, all these other ones seem good. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to shred these up, which is really easy to do. You can blanch them if you want to. I never do, and I never have an issue. Before we put this away, I'm also gonna shred up some cheese. This is cheddar, so feel free to use whatever kind you like, and obviously you can buy it pre-shredded as well. We have gotten Kerrygold cheese for a long time from Sam's Club, and the past few times we've gone, they haven't had it, which is really disappointing because we can get a huge amount at Sam's Club and haven't been able to get it lately. All right, awesome. So that's shredded and ready to go. Now we can clean all this up and put this thing away. This can go in the dishwasher. And the next step is to mix together. We're doing 6 eggs because we are doing a half recipe. If you're going with the full recipe, then you're gonna do 12. So I'm just gonna put them all here in this bowl. Let's add about a 1/4 cup of milk. If you want great richness, add heavy cream instead of milk. We need to add a pinch of salt, pepper, and then you can add whatever other spices you like. Add in a little bit of onion powder if that's what you like, garlic powder. You can add Italian seasoning in there. Add all the flavors you love. All right, we're ready to assemble. All right, first things first, spray your crock pot. Let's add in those potatoes. So I cooked the sausage and then I just put it on this paper towel lined plate just so it would soak up any of the extra grease. We're gonna add half of it into here. If you're making the full recipe, you add in the full pound, but we're gonna use the other half for a different recipe in this video. So let's just add in half right on top of the potatoes. I wanna kind of spread it out, make sure it gets all around here. Looks good, nice layer. Okay. Take the egg mixture and that's gonna go all over the top, just like you would if you were making any other standard breakfast casserole. And then we're gonna top this with about a cup of cheddar cheese. Also keep in mind though that if you like a different kind of cheese better, feel free to use that. I would say use whatever you like. As far as cooking this goes, there's a couple different ways that you can go about it. A lot of it depends on the newness of your crock pot. This is either going to cook on high for 3 to 4 hours or low for 7 to 8 hours. So you wanna judge what time do you get up, what time do you eat breakfast after you get up. Maybe you're waking up significantly earlier than the kids, so that's fine to cook this on high for 3 hours. If you have one of the newer crock pots, which I have a turn dial here, you've got keep warm, low, and high. high, and those are your only options. So, but if you have one that you can set, or maybe it's Bluetooth enabled, or you have a delay function, you could delay it to a certain time, then cook it on low for 7 to 8 hours. Or maybe you have one of the ones that will cook to 7 to 8 hours, or even 3 to 4 hours on high, and then it'll go to a keep warm function. So it's up to you, obviously, depending on your crock pot and how you're gonna do that. I've opted for the low version, so we're gonna cook this on low for 7 to 8 hours. This went from about 11 p.m., maybe 10:45 to 6:15-ish this morning. Let's see how it looks. From what I can tell, this looks perfectly cooked. Let's try a bite. That's really good. It's got great flavor. It is perfectly cooked. It doesn't feel like it's been overdone. The eggs are definitely not underdone. This was so easy, guys. I mean, we woke up to a hot breakfast. That's amazing. You guys know for the past couple of years, we've been on a mission to create a healthier home. Branch Basics is a company on a mission to help people create a healthy home, and they've created products for even the most sensitive of people. It is fragrance-free, pet and baby safe, plant and mineral based, free of harmful preservatives, biodegradable, non-GMO, gluten and tree nut free, and it's not tested on animals. One of my favorite things is that once you buy the kit from Branch Basics, then you really only have to worry about buying the refill concentrate, and the bottles are available in glass and plastic. So no matter what your preference is, you can get what you want. One bottle of concentrate will make 3 all-purpose bottles, 3 bathroom spray bottles, 3 streak-free, 3 foaming hand wash, and then 64 loads of laundry. Now, we have had our bottle of the concentrate for 3 to 4 months or so. We're just under halfway done, but I've made several bottles of cleaner. Laundry detergent, I use this in my mop water as well. So every single time I mop, whether it be with my spin mop or with my vac mop, I use this as the cleaning solution that goes inside of it. I use this product to clean my produce, my kitchen, my countertops, appliances, the floors, bathrooms, toilets, showers, in the laundry. You can also get the oxygen boost, which is really great for laundry because it's gonna help to whiten whites. It's also really good if you have stubborn grout stains, or if you have some places in your shower that just need a little bit of extra scrubbing. I personally am extremely sensitive to smells. I used to get really bad headaches. I love the fact that I can keep my home clean, I can do my laundry and all the things without these added fragrances. I love Branch Basics because I have absolutely no sensitivity to it. You can use the code FEEDINGTHEBIRDS to get 15% off starter kits, and I cannot wait for you guys to try this product, being able to eliminate all these different cleaners that serve all these different purposes and just narrow it down to just having a couple of bottles in your house. It is so convenient and easy. Now, sometimes you want more of a sweet breakfast than savory. I get it. So we are going to make a sweet breakfast. This is a chocolate chip raspberry French toast casserole in the crock pot. So easy, only takes like 2 hours to cook in the crock pot, which is even better because then you don't even have to do this overnight. You can just let it go in the morning. Let's start by making our egg mixture. I'm gonna take 4 eggs and they're going to crack into this bowl. My son's gonna come over and help me with this recipe today. Let's crack 4 eggs into this bowl. Oh, that's okay, it's all right. No big deal, no big deal. Look, we just take out the shell.
There's one little...
That's okay, we'll get it. Press your fingers in and pull apart slowly. There you go, look, you did it, perfect. We're gonna add 1 cup of milk to this. Yeah, there you go. We're adding a touch of vanilla extract, for in what I think is about a teaspoon. And then we're also gonna add some ground cinnamon. So maybe a half teaspoon or so. There you go, that's good. Okay, now we need to whisk those together. Okay, we're just gonna set this to the side while we get started on the next step. In my grocery order, I actually ordered challah bread, but they didn't have any. So we're using brioche instead. You can use either. It's more of a sweet bread, and so it is gonna add some sweetness to the recipe, which is already sweet. We're gonna cut these pieces into 1-inch cubes. You need about 5 cups or so. I honestly will probably use almost the whole loaf. And then we'll probably just toast up a piece for my son and for myself, just to eat for fun right now. All right, we'll save out the heels and you and I can eat those. We're just gonna cut this like so, just into 1-inch cubes. And then just set them to the side. We're gonna cut half of them, and then, since we don't have a lot of room, we're gonna put this into the crock pot, and then we'll cut the other half. Let's give it a good spray. And add in half of the bread just down here at the bottom. So we have half of the bread in here, and I've got some raspberries that I've already washed and prepped. You need about a half pint of raspberries. We'll probably use more because we really like them. So we're gonna put raspberries all in a layer here in between the 2 layers of bread that we're gonna have. We have some dark chocolate chips that need to go on this layer as well. So just all over. We're gonna use overall right around a half cup. Now we need to add some more bread. So let's add in some of that. All right, you wanna add in some bread? That's good.
Those are leftovers.
I'm gonna add some more raspberries. Actually, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna add the egg mixture first, then we'll add the raspberries. Okay, the entire egg mixture gets poured over all of the bread. And then we just take the whisk and just lightly press down a bit. Now we'll top with some more raspberries and chocolate chips. This is gonna cook for 2 hours on high, or until you really start to see it puff up and get a little bit of golden brown color. Okay, this is done. It has been cooking for about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours actually. I'm gonna add some powdered sugar to the top. Let's give this a try. Now, I think probably you would eat it with a little bit of syrup. I just wanna taste it first and see what we're working with. I mean, you could add syrup, but I don't know that you need it. That's pretty good. The only thing I would say is I do think that you should spray your crock pot better than I did. There's quite a bit of sticking around the outside. Now, granted, this crock pot is 20 years old, so maybe that's the issue, but probably a good idea to spray it. The flavor, y'all, this is very good. One thing you can make in the crock pot that's very easy to make is a frittata. And whenever I consider frittatas or quiches, although yes, you can bake them in the oven, I kind of think about whatever's in the refrigerator and you dump it all in, okay? So it does not have to be one of these really put together and sought out recipes. Both of my cutting boards are in the dishwasher. So we're going to just cut it right here on this plate. So we already had red pepper in the refrigerator and it needs to be used. And so this is a great option. But you can add whatever your favorite vegetables are. I've seen a lot of frittatas made with spinach, broccoli. I mean, you guys, you make whatever you wanna make. Let's add just a bit more. I really like to make these when we are about to head out of town. And like I said, the reason for that is I want to empty out the refrigerator of all these leftover vegetables so they don't go bad. We don't wanna waste them, so we're just gonna throw them all into a frittata. Okay, we've got everything already prepped at this point pretty much, so I'm gonna move this out of the way. I've got my crock pot insert right here. Now, my crock pot is approximately 25 years old, so I have to spray it heavily. There's like no nonstick coating left on this thing, so we're going to give it a really good spray. so that it will hopefully be all right. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of modifications that you can make along the way that might make this different. You can slice up potato and put it up. Actually, let's do that. I wasn't going to for this recipe, but I like the balance of carbs that the potato brings, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Now, if you're thinking that this seems a little disorganized, you might be right. And that is because I make this different every single time. Like I said, whatever just happens to be in the refrigerator is what we throw in a frittata. I'm gonna slice up this potato and it's gonna go at the bottom, creating somewhat of a crust. You could also just add in frozen hash browns if you want. You don't have to do this at all. You can skip the potato altogether. I like to have the potato at the bottom, especially for us where this crock pot is very old. The potato kind of acts like a barrier so the eggs don't stick quite as bad. So I'm just taking the potato and placing them all at the bottom of the crock pot. We don't need the ends. I didn't even cut these perfectly even, but it's totally fine. You don't have to worry about it. Nothing about this has to be perfect. You'll be surprised how this will turn out. So you might also be wondering, and I have wondered in the past myself, what's the difference in a frittata and a quiche? From all the research that I did early on, the frittata does not have any heavy cream or milk, and the quiche does. Also, frittata doesn't usually have a crust. You've probably seen that a lot of times quiche has a crust. Now for us, they're probably more similar than other frittatas or quiches because we often will make a potato crust even for our quiche. But we are not gonna be adding milk into this recipe today. As you can see, we've got a potato layer there at the bottom. You guys saw that I already cooked up some sausage the other day. This is a ½ pound of sausage, and I told you we were gonna be using the rest of it, and we're using the rest of it now. All right, so my daughter is gonna be helping me finish out this recipe. So we'll just spread out the sausage at the bottom of the crock pot here. Again, like I said, this is one of those dump everything in here from the refrigerator. We're gonna be adding mushrooms because these need to get used now. So we're only gonna be adding half. Like we're gonna separate it in half because my daughter really doesn't care for mushrooms. And so this will allow her to not have to pick through it and pick out the mushrooms. Okay, let's add in the red bell pepper. I would also add green bell pepper if we had it, but we are out. I'm also gonna be adding in some arugula. Obviously you can add spinach instead, or you can skip this altogether, but I have arugula. I already have arugula purchased for another recipe, so I'm just gonna toss it in here. And I love the taste of arugula. It's more of a lemony, peppery kind of flavor with in this green, so. Now let's put together our egg mixture that's gonna go on here. To do that, we need 6 eggs into this bowl. While my daughter is cracking the egg into the bowl, also feel free to go ahead and saute all of your vegetables first. It's another step. It's totally fine to do that. We usually skip out on this because I always find that they soften up enough for me. But if you prefer the taste of sauteed vegetables, which are delicious by the way, then go ahead and do that. Now I personally like to add good flavor into our egg mixture. So I'm gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire, maybe a ½ teaspoon or so, some onion powder. Okay, we're gonna add some garlic powder, and I really only have about a ½ teaspoon left, so we're just going to toss that in. I love adding oregano to this. So again, maybe a ½ teaspoon. And then I know this one seems a little bit weird, but trust me on the flavor. Add in a little bit of chili powder. There's something about it.
Parsley.
You can add parsley if you want. Yeah, add parsley. Okay, my daughter has decided she wants to add pepper and parsley, so I'm gonna have her go ahead and do that. And we also need to add a little bit of salt. So let's, about a ½ teaspoon, whisk all of those together. Now, most recipes will tell you to mix the cheese in with the eggs, but I always think that's silly because it just sinks to the bottom of the egg mixture anyway. Why not just take it and spread it all over the top of your frittata or your quiche? It's just easier that way. So you need about a ½ cup of cheese. You can obviously skip the cheese altogether. Don't feel like you have to add it. This is cheddar. And I also happen to have freshly shredded Parmesan as well. So we might as well add some of that too. Let's pour the egg mixture all over the top. Now, this is going to cook on low for 3 to 4 hours or on high for 1 to 2 hours. You're just gonna watch it and kind of make sure that it is cooked through all the way in the middle. We're going to choose the on high option. And what I'm gonna do is, I usually wake up about an hour and a half before the kids anyway, so I'm gonna start it as soon as I wake up in the morning, and then when they wake up, it's gonna be ready to go. Just so you guys are aware, we thought that this was gonna take about 1 to 2 hours on high, but it was actually closer to 3 hours before it was done. So I would say just be aware of that, and obviously depending on your crock pot, all those times could be different. We are going to see how this is. The flavor is really good flavor in here. The obviously it's not really a time saver when you're considering the crock pot. It's more of the option of not having to think about it. Everything's in there, and then you can just set it and forget about it. If you're cooking this on low, I would anticipate 5 to 6 hours maybe, at least with my crock pot anyway. But the flavors, oh yeah. Our verse today comes from Lamentations 3:22-23. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassion never fails. They're new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you need more inspiration, I highly suggest you check out the video that I have right above here. Click on that video and you're gonna get even more. Also, don't forget, check out the link in my description box and use my code to get 15% off of Branch Basics. You guys are gonna love it.